Hey everybody, I'm Julie Balderrama, and I'm going live from my personal page instead of my business page because I thought I'd just shake things up and see who shows up on my personal page when I do a broadcast from here. So today I'm going to talk about rekindling your relationship with your dreams. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I was called a dreamer. You're such a dreamer, you've got your head in the clouds. I'm super curious if you resonate with that, if you ever were told that's just a dream, or you're such a dreamer, you need to be more realistic. Did you ever hear that as a kid? And do you ever hear that even as an adult? People still tell me that as an adult. I just don't listen to them now. That's the benefit of being an adult. Okay, so we're going to talk about rekindling your relationships with your dreams. For those of you that don't know me, I do teach visionaries and change makers how to nurture and tend the wisdom and the insight and the healing that's available in sleeping dreams, so that they can creatively influence the waking dream. And one of the reasons I love to do this is actually because I'm on a mission to get as many people as possible doing dream work, and rekindling their relationship to their dreams, and really allowing themselves to dream big, because I think that that is going to have a big impact on the collective waking dream, or what we've all agreed to call reality. So from my own experience and working with my clients and working, or not working, but in being in dream sharing circles, I know that as we cultivate a relationship with our dreams, the ones that we have at night and the ones that we have in waking life, like our fantasies, our imaginations, our hopes and wishes for what we could create in our waking life. I know that when we cultivate that relationship with our sleeping dreams, we begin to awaken. We begin to awaken to the illusion that what we decide to call reality, is actually anything other than a dream as well. And I know that for some of us, being stuck in that illusion of real and not real seems pretty real. But I promise you, very quickly, when you start working with your dreams, you start to recognize that that's actually not true, that it's all an illusion. We're making everything up. And if we can make everything up, then why not consciously make it up? Why not choose what we're making up? So I want a lot of dreamers to wake up and to gather intentionally together to collectively influence and co-create this particular reality. To me, that seems really exciting. There's lots of people that I've been talking to that are also really excited by that. But I think first, to do that, we sort of have to get a handle on our own dreams, our own personal dreams. Of course, it's all connected. So even as we get a handle on our own personal dreams, we are, just by the very nature that we're all connected, we're influencing a collective waking dream too. Okay, so whether or not we are on board with this idea, we are actually creating or influencing the waking dream. We're creating our reality. The difference is, do we want to do this subconsciously, or do we want to do it consciously? Do we want to do it with, do we want to influence the waking dream with our wounding, or do we want to influence it with our healing? And so that's sort of, to me, the difference between doing it subconsciously or doing it consciously. So let's talk about dreams. Robert Moss wrote a book called The Three Only Things: Tapping the Power of Dreams, Coincidence, and Imagination. And his book has only in quotes, because that's sort of how we refer to it, right? It's only a dream. It's only coincidence. It's only imagination. The dismissal and the discounting and devaluing, and really often the denigration of these important aspects of our lives, tends to kind of squash our dreams, our ability to dream and to be in relationship with our dreams, our ability to trust our intuition and to know that there are little, cosmic cairns along the pathway that point us in a particular direction, and to trust our ability to imagine the world that we want to create, or the life that we want to create. So I'm just going to pause here. I'd like to check in. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to give thumbs up and you want to give hearts, I love seeing those bubble up on the screen. If you're watching later, of course, you can still give those thumbs ups and hearts. Those are nice to receive as well. And I'd also like to know if this is resonating with you in any way. It could be that you think it's a load of BS, and that's totally fine. I'd love to hear that too. If you are like, this makes no sense to me, that's cool, let me know. And if you're like, I think this makes sense, but I'm not, like, I feel it on some level, but I can't quite wrap my mind around it, that's cool too. And if you're on board and you're like, yes, this totally makes sense, I know what you're talking about, I'm with you, let's go, let me know as well in the comments. And I'm also curious what your relationship with your dreams is. Both sleeping and waking. So if you just want to leave a comment in the comment section, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, I love to see everybody's experience with their dreams. Okay, so again, when we dismiss our dreams, we dismiss imagination, coincidence. I would argue that we could add intuition to that list. Actually, we could probably add a whole host of feminine energetic expression, but that's a different Facebook Live. We dismiss it, we discount it, we devalue it, and oftentimes we denigrate it. And unfortunately, that lends itself, that adds to this idea that that we are skewed masculine, that the masculine is more important. And of course, that has lots of social ramifications, which I'm sure you get. Yeah, Kim, great. Yeah, trying to wrap your mind. It is a little bit difficult to wrap your mind around it. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's actually not for our conscious mind to kind of totally get. Like, that's the thing about dreams, is that it is confusing for a little while. And I think that's why a lot of people kind of get frustrated with the idea of doing dream work, because it does take a little bit more time. It takes a willingness to be confused for a little bit. We don't like to be confused, right? We like to know the answers. It makes us feel smart. It makes us feel worthy. It makes us feel like we get it. And again, that's that skewing to the masculine, knowing things, intellect, that's all valued. Being willing to sit with the tension of holding questions and being confused, that's not valued, but it is valuable. And if we can do that, then things start to make sense to us a little bit more. So you don't have to wrap your mind around it before you start working with your dreams. In fact, actually start working with your dreams, and you'll start to make more sense of it and be able to wrap your mind around it. And you know that your dreams are significant. Most of us do, right? Most of us have some kind of internal knowing that our dreams are significant. And actually tomorrow I'm going to come on and I'm going to start a series of What Does It Mean Wednesdays. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about the significance of nightmares. What do nightmares mean? And if you've got any other questions about symbols in your dreams, or things that seem to be recurring, or you just want to know what it means, send me a private message, leave a comment here. I'm happy to do one of the broadcasts on your question of what it means. And then, of course, if you want to deal with specifically with your dreams specifically, there's always a dream weaving session that you can book with me. And then I'm going to talk to you about a program that I'm offering at the end of this live. Okay, so when I go to networking events, or someone asks me what I do, I tell them that I'm a dream coach. And when I say I'm a dream coach, I just sort of stop right there and I kind of leave it in the air, because I like to see what they do with that. I like to see where their mind takes it, where their hearts take it. And usually what happens is that I see like this sort of light in their eyes. It's sort of a bubbling up, a recognition and a curiosity and an intrigue of like, oh, that I recognize that as valuable. And then immediately I start to see a puzzled look on their face. And they sometimes ask out loud, or sometimes I can kind of just see them working through it in their mind. What do you mean? Like, do you mean dreams when we're awake or when we're asleep? And I actually work with both. Like I said at the beginning of this, I really help visionaries and change makers begin to nurture and tend what's going on in the sleeping dream, so that they can more efficiently, effectively impact and influence what's going on in the waking dream. Chandra, hello. I'm so welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome. I'd like to know what your relationship with your dreams is. I know that you You and I have talked about dreams before. We've worked on one of your dreams before. It was super fascinating, so I'd love to know what your experience is. So waking dreams or sleeping dreams, it's actually no coincidence that they're both called dreams, right? Our sleeping dreams and our waking dreams are both powered by our intuition and by our imagination, and they both guide us toward an expanded self. So I would say that they're the same thing. They just happen in different states of consciousness. But think about how we treat our dreams, both sleeping dreams and waking dreams. How many times has someone told you, that's just a dream? Have you told anyone that? I'm ashamed to say that I've actually told my daughter that that's just a dream. And I told her that because I was feeling distressed about a bad dream that she had had, a nightmare that she had had. And I didn't yet have the tools and the way to talk about bad dreams that I do now, or nightmares that I do now. There's no such thing as a bad dream, but I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. And so I did tell her that's just a dream, as a way to soothe her. And so I'm curious, has anyone ever told you that's just a dream, whether it's a waking dream or a nighttime dream, a sleeping dream? And have you told anyone else that? Yeah, Chandra, you're dreaming more often than you ever have. Yes, giving yourself permission to open up to the metaphysical expansion of your life journey. Yep, the dream volume will get turned way up there when you start doing that. And vice versa, when you start paying attention to your dreams, your waking life starts to shift and change pretty drastically as well. Yeah, things got intense as you were. Yep, it can definitely get intense, which I think is one of the best reasons to work with someone, whether that's a dream buddy or a dream coach or a dream circle, so that you've got that support, because it can get pretty intense. Some of us have energy practices and we can handle that, and it's always just a really good idea to be in community with people, to get support from people. Okay, so back to being called a dreamer. How many times have you been called a dreamer, or told to get your head out of the clouds, or be more realistic, or practical, or down to earth? And that's sort of that squashing of the dreams, right? That's that way to tell us that it's not important what your intuition, what your inner knowing, what your subconscious is coming to tell you. Let's not listen to that. Let's just pay attention to the intellect. And again, that's that skewing of the value of the masculine, which has us way, way, way out of balance, and it causes all kinds of problems. I'm sure I don't need to tell you what they are. And it also squashes our imagination. It squashes our ability to dream big, our ability to imagine different solutions than the ones that we've been trying again and again and again, trying to get different results. Yes. So a lot of times, Kim, I hope you can catch the broadcast tomorrow. I'm going to I need to look at my calendar, but I'm going to try to come on about the same time. And we're going to talk about nightmares. We're going to talk about why we have nightmares. And I got to tell you, once you start working with your nightmares, I very rarely have a nightmare anymore. Even when I am dreaming something that is intense, or something that would have normally been scary to me, I don't feel those feelings in my dreams anymore. Very rarely. So I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you've got nightmares and chronic nightmares and you're scared of working with your dreams, to just get support to do it, because it is frightening. I get that, absolutely. But as you start working with your dreams, you will find some resolution and you will find some peace within your dreams. Yeah, absolutely makes sense, and I get you. So having the courage to find some support, I do recommend getting support when you're working with nightmares. To just dive in there and get that support for that. And I can talk to you too, when I talk about nightmares, I'll talk to you about a couple of people that I've worked with their nightmares, either a nightmare that was just really, really intense, those ones that sort of stay with you for a long time, or those recurring nightmares that tend to come back and come back and come back. And I've got a couple of different instances that I can talk about tomorrow. So again, going back to what I was talking about, when we say, that's just a dream, or you're such a dreamer, get your head out of the clouds, the implication is that our dreams aren't real. And this is one of those things that we have to wrap our mind around too, this idea that real and not real is an illusion. And so if we can start to see our dreams as just as real as what we can see and touch, that starts to change a lot in our world and it starts to shift a lot internally. We start to give ourselves permission to question things, permission to follow our intuition. It starts to reestablish our trust with ourselves. It really has a huge, huge impact when we let go of the idea that there is a real and a not real, a right and a wrong, a good and a bad. And we start to see it really all as a dream, as a projection of this, little movie maker in our mind. The other implication that we have when we don't value our dreams, both our sleeping and our waking dreams, is that we're not co-creators. We start to see ourselves more as victims. Life is happening to us. Why is this happening to me? Why can't I figure this out? Why can't I get a break? And so we lose our connection with our ability to be a co-creator in our life. We co-create with each other. We co-create with Source. And when we lose our connection with, or our value of our dreams and our connection with our dreams, then we lose that status, or we lose our ability to claim that status as a co-creator. It takes away our power to consciously influence our reality and to create the life of our dreams. And it separates our human experience from our divine experience. And I would say that that separation has a lot packed into there. And I'm just going to talk about a few things. But that separation between our human experience and our divine experience, imagining that we are somehow separate from the divine, creates a lot of problems in our lives. It keeps us stuck in certain situations. So I don't know if that resonates with anybody. Anybody on here watching feels stuck sometimes in their lives, like they're just sort of on this hamster wheel, or they're in a extended version of Groundhog Day. And no matter what you try, you don't ever seem to get out of that particular pattern, or you don't ever seem to be able to figure out that one particular thing. And maybe that's a particular relationship, or maybe you've got a series of relationships that haven't worked and you can't figure it out no matter what you try. Or maybe that's around money or around your career, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to figure out how to get ahead or how to be happy in your work. There's a whole basket of things that we can feel stuck with. We can feel stuck with our own self-confidence and our own relationship with ourselves, feeling love for ourselves, feeling the ability to, or feeling like we've got permission to full on be ourselves, our crazy, messy, wild, chaotic selves that most of us, a lot of us, to some degree or another, are afraid is unlovable, is unworthy, doesn't belong. And so we stay stuck in these patterns when we aren't tied to our divine selves, when we're not tied to our intuition and our imagination, and we don't believe that we can co-create our life. We can't see our way out of that situation. It just keeps repeating itself. So most of the women that I work with know that they are way more magical and capable of creative influence than what they are living. And they really crave a relationship with the feminine energy principle, but they don't know it yet. Because again, our culture is so skewed to the unhealthy expression of the masculine. The problem is that they don't have an idea of what a healthy feminine expression even looks like. We've got very few models of it, and so we can't even imagine it. And if you can't imagine it, there's no space for that expression to be born. So when you rekindle your relationship with your dreams, it really does open up and strengthen your imagination, so you can suddenly see all of the creative paths before you. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. We can get really obsessed sometimes. We can get really, even almost paralyzed sometimes, even when we see all these creative paths before us. Which path do I choose? Again, if we liberate ourselves from right and wrong, we start to see that all the paths before us lead us towards expanded self, lead us towards growth, and lead us home to our divine selves. And so it doesn't matter anymore which path we choose. When I realized that, that was like a huge, whoo, such a relief in my life. It doesn't matter which path I choose, I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow. I can't avoid growth, and I also can't do it wrong. So we're going to grow no matter what it is, we choose. And I tried to avoid that for a long time because I thought that it always came with pain. I thought that it would be hard. And so I tried to just kind of avoid it for a really long time. Turns out you can't avoid it. And so it is much less painful if you choose it than if you don't choose it and you get dragged along that path. So when you work with your dreams, you do see also, not only do you see all of these creative paths before you, not only do you start to realize that all of the paths will lead you back home to your divine self, but you also start to see where on those paths you might experience some kind of block or wounding or brokenness around that thread to the divine. And that's usually because of some kind of something that's happened in our life that has convinced us that we're not divine, that's convinced us to be separated from source. So that could be trauma, that could be, just the subconscious beliefs that we all take on because our parents and our friends and our teachers and our politicians and our leaders and everybody else is walking around with the same basic fears that they don't belong, that they're not worthy, and that they're not lovable. And when we express from that place, we project that onto other people. We project that onto young, impressionable kids who are still sort of being programmed in their subconscious. So we can choose to deprogram that, reprogram that the way that we want to, or we can choose to continue in this Groundhog Day kind of thing. So it does, working with your dreams, for me anyway, one of the things that it does is not only show me where that path is broken, but it also helps me repair the trust that I have with myself to be able to walk that path and repair that brokenness, and the trust that I have with Source, that there is actually, that I am connected to the divine, to Source, to universe, to God, Goddess, whatever you want to call it, to a higher creative organizing force, whether I feel it or not. So I do actually have a very practical side as well. All of the people in my life that have told me you're just a dreamer, you have to be more realistic, you have to have a practical side. I get it. I get that practicality and action steps and all of those things balances out all of the ideas and the dreams that I have. If I want to see my dreams, if I want to physically touch and express my dreams, I do have to act. I do have to do something. And so when I work in any program or workshop, I always want actionable steps. And I think most people do. I think most people want, okay, now I know all this stuff. Now what do I do? And so I actually bring my best dreams, my best imaginations, my best co-creation for my reality into physical form. And I do that by imagining first and then taking action. That's how I influence and I co-create the waking dream. I hope this has been helpful. I do hope it's jogged some things and stirred some things up, and maybe you are sitting there a little bit confused right now. I actually have developed a pretty good relationship with confusion. I think it's a good thing from time to time. I'd love to hear your experience of your dreams, your waking dreams and your sleeping dreams. I'd love to hear what's resonating for you. Hey, Lena, do you still sell the Lucid Dreaming tea? Lena also has a creative entrepreneur collective, and she has these big parties about once a month, sometimes every 6 weeks or so. Jamie's in that collective as well. It's a bunch of fun to go and hang out with those people. So get connected with them if that's something that you want to do. So I wanted to just end with talking to you about a program that I'm offering right now. It's called Dream Catcher. And I'm actually really excited about this particular program because it is designed specifically to help you rekindle a relationship with your dreams. Whether you're an avid dreamer or whether you are experiencing a dream drought right now and you can't remember your dreams, or even if you're scared to start to get into your dreams, but you know that they're significant and you know they hold great meaning for you, this program is really designed to help you rekindle that relationship, reestablish that relationship with your dreams. And what I love so much about this particular, it's called Dreamcatcher. What I love so much about this structure of this particular program is that it lets you do a lot of the investigation on your own. So it's a 6-month program, and what happens is that we share a dream journal. We share it electronically, and you write your dreams down. I give you some prompts so you can go ahead and dig into them, and then I go in and I make comments or ask questions. More it's asking questions to point you down different avenues of exploration. So anytime we are looking into our subconscious, we do have, a sort of limited view because of our conscious mind's ability and willingness to look at the whole thing. But when we get another set of eyes on there, especially a set of eyes who sees patterns and who's experienced in noticing symbols and things like that, then we can open up more to what a possible symbol might mean. We can open up the imagination a little bit more. So we work together in this way in a continuous basis rather than, waiting a week or 2 weeks before we talk to each other to dig into a dream. We're constantly looking at the dreams and starting to pick out the patterns and the themes and the symbols. And then we talk once a month, and we actually talk about how we take the information, the wisdom, the healing that's happened in the dreams, and we put it into action in waking life. We come up with things for you to do in waking life to begin to get out of stuckness, to begin to repair relationships, to begin to have more self-confidence and self-esteem, whatever it is that you want to work on. And we do have a focus session where we decide what we're working on. A lot of people, I got to tell you, in this program end up working on play, end up working on the relationship with fun and with leisure time and with play. It's interesting, which I've seen just huge transformations, not only with the person that's working on it, but with their relationships with their kids, relationships with their significant others, relationships with work. So it's just interesting how this all tends to sort of like happen in bundles. So we start to take these actions and begin to shift these patterns and begin to open up your imagination for what's possible in your waking life so that you can create the life of your dreams. So that's my Dreamcatcher program. If this is something that's interesting to you, you can leave me a comment, and we can have a little chat about what this looks like. I'm going to leave the link to the landing page as well if you want to read a little bit more about it. You can do that too. You can always private message me. You can leave a comment, and if you're on my email list, you can always reply to my emails that go out with this information too. Please feel free to leave me any questions that you have about dreams, both your sleeping dreams and your waking dreams, in the comment or private message me. I'd love to know what you want to know. And tomorrow I am going to come back and we're going to talk about what does it mean Wednesdays. We're going to talk about nightmares. What do they mean? So catch that broadcast tomorrow. And of course you can watch the replay as well. If there is something that you want to know what it means, I'm going to do these on Wednesdays. What does it mean Wednesday? So just feel free to ask, and I will do that on one of the broadcasts. If you do have a specific dream that you want to work on, you can always get in touch with me for a Dreamcatcher session, the Dreamcatcher program, or just a one-off dream session as well if you've got just one dream that you want to work on. Although I find it helpful to work with your dreams on an ongoing basis because it's kind of fun to track your symbols as you keep working with your dreams. I actually used to have these dreams about my mother, and I would dream that my mother would do these horrible, cruel things in my dreams, would betray me in these very hurtful and painful ways in my dreams. And as I worked with my dreams and as I began to realize that I wanted to heal the feminine expression, energetic principle within myself, I noticed that that symbol in my dream began to shift and change. And first she changed into a neutral character. She'd be in my dreams, but she wouldn't be doing anything. She wouldn't, she wouldn't be adding to and she wouldn't be taking away. She'd just be there. And as I continued to heal that feminine principle, then she became a symbol in my dreams of actually a lot of nurturing and a lot of support and a lot of love. So it's kind of cool to watch how that dream symbol tracked throughout my dreams as I worked on healing the relationship with my inner feminine energetic principle. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. I hope you join me tomorrow for What Does It Mean Wednesday. We'll talk about nightmares. And if you want to find out more about my Dreamcatcher program, get in touch with me. I'd love to talk with you about it. Thanks, everybody. Sweet dreams.